What is up, Eagles Nation? The Eagles have pulled it off in game one. Let's sit back and talk about it. Hit that like, hit that comment, hit that subscribe. Let's get it.
All right, Jordan Davis came into this training camp talking about you slimmed down a little bit because you wanted to play more snaps. 50 tonight. You had only a high of 37 last year. That's a great start for you there, huh?
Definitely. This is the work that we putting in. It came to fruition. A lot of things got unfortunate tonight, but at the end of the day, this is what we work for.
I know it didn't start the way you guys planned. Jalen didn't even get to play a snap there. What happens in the defensive huddle when all of a sudden that happens and you have to adjust right away?
You have to adjust. Either way, we're all trying to go for the D-line room. We know we had a tall task ahead of us, but we all built for it. And that's just the culture that we have at practice. That's the culture we have in the locker room. We're ready for any moment.
Did you see the incident? Because NBC showed Dak spitting toward your huddle. Did you guys notice that part of it?
I didn't see it, but, at the end of the day, that's not my call to make. I'll leave it to the rest, and then we adjust from there. But at the end of the day, we're just glad to get a win out of this.
All right, this defense really hung in there, played really well down the stretch. What was it about the adjustments? Was some made during the delay, perhaps?
It was more so about just cleaning up our act. We had a lot of stupid penalties, a lot of unnecessary stuff, and we just had to make sure that we clean that up for the rest of the game and, squeak by. But at the end of the day, we came to fruition, just have a couple more points than the other team.
Easier to clean that up when you're 1-0. Congratulations.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Go get some rest.
Appreciate it.
I was born to be a fighter, had these dreams and desires. I would be something better, energy, got a fire in my soul to keep burning, a pain that keep hurting, a curse is emerging, feel the thirst, keep on working, I won't stop, I won't quit, to the top of this shit, I get lost in the work, sweat dripping, not a bitch, I get mad, I get pissed, I get after this shit, hit the gas, feel the grip, adrenaline, never miss, I'm not patient, but I've learned to embrace it, cause I've been working, I've been waiting, never complacent, cause I'm so close I can taste it, want it away from everything I've been chasing. I'm honest and I promise that I got this. I'm launching, all I've wanted has been exhausting. I'll teach you how to harness, control the conscience. You got this, yeah you got this, you gotta want it. Shot, life ain't fair. Are you gonna win or will the place scared? I will not stop, I am prepared to get to the top, yeah you must beware. Got 'em like hey, hey, I will not
So it is. Fly, Eagles, fly. Till the next time, I love all you guys. Thank you for supporting the channel. And those birds, like,
I will not stop, I am prepared to get to the top, and you must beware. Got 'em like.
what is up, Eagles Nation? It's your boy Bird Game 31 here to talk about the Philadelphia Eagles. We are not watching football. We watched our game on Thursday night, and the Philadelphia Eagles did squeak by the Dallas Cowboys. It wasn't the beatdown everybody wanted, but it was probably, the best case scenario in terms of football. The best case scenario, you got to realize these teams did not play no starters throughout the whole preseason of football, meaning the last time the Eagles played any kind of football where anybody was out there really hitting each other, was the Super Bowl. So, you got to look at that first game as being one of those type, kind of like, a third preseason game, for the team. After halftime, teams adjust, teams look better. After the halftime of this game, everybody went, scoreless the rest of the game. So obviously the defense at the delay in the halftime kept the defenses, fresh, and they played some good football at the end of the game. So the beginning of this game was wild, man. We had our boy Jalen Carter, I don't know what he was thinking, but that was a smooth move by Dak Prescott to bait a guy like Jalen Carter, the best defensive player on your team, bait him into, doing something foolish, doing something stupid, doing something he should have probably never done. But here he is, Jalen Carter, talking about the situation.
Explain what happened from your vantage point.
It was a mistake that happened on my side, and it just won't happen again. So I feel bad for just my teammates and the fans out there. I'm doing it for them. I'm doing it for my family also. But the fans, they show the most love. You heard them out there today. Just not being able to start the game, even finish the game, just fucked me up. But I'll get it better. It won't happen again. Yeah,
give him a little bit of room. There's some footage later that showed that Dak may have done something first. Do you feel like he precipitated a little bit of room?
No, I don't try to do nothing out of the ordinary. Anything that I feel like I have done something that is provoked, but if there's something out there, y'all see it, we'll go off that.
How amped were you to play this game?
So,
How amped were you to play this game?
super, just to get back. We don't play preseason, so we don't get no warm-ups to hit other opponents. And I was so ready, but things went how I went. We just go focus on next week and get better at what we were watching film.
When it happened,
You heard him. It was one of those situations where I think he realized he messed up. He messed up. He shouldn't have did it, and he's trying to be as mature as possible about it. You don't spin on another man no matter who you are. That's nasty. That's just straight up nasty. You don't do things like that, especially not in a million with millions of people watching the only game on at night. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody's locked out in on you. And before you even get a snap, you go out there and you go spit on him. Don't let no one bait you to that. You're a grown man. You should do better than that. But it did opened up some things for this Cowboys, offense. Dak told you straight up, when Jalen Carter was gone, we changed up our blocking scheme because we were going to attack him, double team him, triple team him, bump him, chip him, whatever. But since he wasn't in the game, they have a different game plan, you know what I'm saying? And that's not cool when your best player is out for the game, you know what I'm saying? I didn't really think it was necessary, but, hopefully this is his suspension. The one game served already. He get a big fine because I think you need to hurt his pockets, for doing something like that. And then, we move on to Kansas City next week. That's what I'm hoping for. But it did open up and gave a chance for other, Eagle defensive stars to shine. But before we really get into that, let's talk about our boy Jalen freaking Hurts. You know what I'm saying? Like Jalen Hurts put the team on his back again for the win. Jalen Hurts. Man, Jamar Chase didn't even want to talk about it when they were talking about him in the top 100. Check it out.
And who's the number one player on the top 100 this year?
On the what?
The top 100.
I'm not saying him. I give credit when it's due, but I'm not saying his name.
I don't know who you're talking about.
Yeah, you do. I'm not saying his name, brother. I'm sorry. Joe Burrow. I'm not saying that guy's name. He's good. He's amazing. He's good. Not gonna lie. I'm salty, though. I'm a little salty. 2 years in a row. But I'm putting Burrow first.
Look at him. Hater in the building. Look, the way you give respect without it, because Jalen Hurts is another type of brute. This is what Seth Joyner said right before, the season started this year.
The thing I love about Jalen is people don't give him credit for what he does on the field. Mm-hmm. That 46-yard touchdown to Devontae Smith, that was a check at the line of scrimmage. Not only does he run the offense, no one gives him credit for being able to get them in and out of the right plays. Yeah. Where some of the other quarterbacks, he's so cerebral, he's so smart. Well, what about what Jalen does at the line of scrimmage? Mm-hmm. The other fact is, there was a time in the NFL where the running quarterback, it was said he would never win a Super Bowl. Nobody's talking about the fact that Jalen Hurts is the first running quarterback to win a Super Bowl in the National Football League. Mm-hmm. So, some of these haters and procrastinators and prognosticators and whatever other nader you want to call them, they need to start giving this kid, his prop.
Say it with your chest, Jordan, because that is all facts. First running quarterback to win a Super Bowl, Jalen freaking Hurts, man. And let's look at the numbers. The numbers weren't great for either quarterback, but if you look at it, Dak had 191 yards, zero touchdowns, 61.8% completion, 73.6 QBR. With the loss, Jalen had 214, 2 touchdowns, 82.6 completion rating, 94.2 quarterback rating with the W, my guy. And it's not always how many yards you pass for. It's about when you pass for those yards. What happens in the game? How does it, affect the football game? Dak, everybody's like, oh, Dak had such a great game. It's like he didn't even have more yards than Jalen Hurts. You know what I'm saying? And he took that L. So Jalen Hurts is that dude. I don't think like we said before, we're not going to see, the 400-yard games every week. You know what I'm saying? That's just not his style. That's not what he do. What you will see is a quarterback, a leader out there. You seen him hit that pocket whenever he need to hit the pocket and take a scamper off for, 6-yard gain here. I'd love to see now that he is running the football, He is not taking big hits. That's another thing that's great about his game. He knows when to slide. He slides when he needs to, and he does not. He avoids all the big hits. Let's talk about our boy Jalen Hurts. 15-1 over the last 16 games, 15 games in a row winning with a 71% completion rating, 8.3 yards per distance and 38 touchdowns. It's like, come on, man. Like this is elite quarterback numbers, man. Like, when you talk about wins, wins, 38 touchdowns, no matter how you get it, he's winning with these numbers. Okay. AJ Brown still went to a Pro Bowl. You know what I'm saying? Like, he still was the man with these numbers. This is how he plays, and you're going to let him keep playing the way he does. What up, Slim? She says, hit that like. Yes, ma'am. You go ahead and get him started. Don't forget to subscribe. Go Birds. What up, D. Aldridge? How you, my guy? He says, fly, goes fly. Yeah. He said, BG, game was lit. Yeah, man, we're talking about the game right now. How do you feel about it? Did you like the game? Did you like how it going? Because I think people were kind of disappointed with the defense, you know what I'm saying, in the beginning. But like I said, we have Jalen Hurts. And before I get on to that note, because you got me going off track here, before I go to that note, we're going to go ahead and watch my boy Jalen Hurts. Let's take a look at how he carved up the Cowboys.
Let me show you guys an unstoppable play.
Third and goal. Hurts has time. Takes off. Jalen Hurts. Touchdown, Philadelphia.
Quarterback in the NFL to convert on third down and convert in the red zone. You want to throw a touchdown pass? Great. You want to run it in the end zone? Great. This guy is tremendous at doing both.
Philadelphia. Dallas twisting four men. Hurts has all kinds of time. Escapes. Runs. First down. To the 9. Pass rush not getting there. Hurts getting there. First and goal, Philadelphia. Second and goal. Hurts. Again the time. Now chase. Now taken off to the pylon. Got there. Jalen Hurts for the second time tonight. And Hurts with time. Now snap downfield. And it is brought in by Jahid Dotson. Taking it down to the 26-yard line. Dotson able. Hurts looking to take off. Hurts has the first down. Jalen Hurts does it with his legs, which took care of those early drives. Dallas takes their final timeout.
When you go empty, you just have...
Great game, right? Great game. Quarterback poise. Dots. I think there was only like 4 incompletions. One of them, 3 of them were dropped. 3 of them were throwaways, and 1 of them were dropped throughout the whole game, man. Like, Jalen Hurts looked amazing. He looked full, full mode in game 1. And I know people want to say, hey, what about Devontae? What about AJ? You know what I'm saying? They stopped, Saquon. It's like, it was the first game back, guys. Like, we just got to chill out. Let these guys do what they got to do. Am I worried a little bit about AJ Brown if things like this continue? I think we should have to worry about that a little bit if things continue, because one target, in the third quarter is not what you do with a superstar receiver. He's not trying to sit there all game long. When Dallas Goedert got like 5, Smitty had like 3, 3 for Dotson, and then only 1 to AJ. I know they were playing coverage on him, but that's what makes AJ the man that he is today, is he can beat that coverage. He can beat double teams. He can do things like that. And I think they said he was open like 12 times in the game, or 8 to 12 times in the game, and, only got that 1 target. So I think Jalen's coming out. He's about getting the W. If he can get cute and fancy and he's never no more going to put the ball in harm's way, unless it's like one of them games where we're trying to come back in the game and he has to try to make something happen. If we're in a game where it's 0-0 or we're up, Jalen Hurts is not going to ever throw into double coverage. He's not going to ever take sacks unless he has to, and he's not going to really force anything to nobody at that time. So we just got to respect that about his game and realize that's what Jalen Hurts is doing moving forward. So, like I said, quarterback, I give him an A++ for the game. He couldn't have done anything better. 2 touchdowns on the ground. Still got 100 and some yards passing. He was dotting people up. Jahan Dotson, one guy I did tell you guys about. Put your money on Jahan having a better game than AJ and Smitty. I said that on the truth last week, and you seen it was true. Jahan Dotson is really going to open it up this year. I think this is going to be one of his years. You got to look at, he's going to have a safety on him, a third cornerback on him, a linebacker on him, just like people that are not on his level. He is about I was saying it, like kind of like the Cowboys when he had Cooper, Lamb, and Gallup. You know what I'm saying? Jahan and Gallup had that 1,000-yard season. It could be one of them seasons because Jalen's going to throw the football to whoever's open. Jalen's going to go to football to the person with the best matchup. And that might never really be A.J. Brown because he's going to be taking a lot of attention. Your number 1 cornerback, probably help over the top. You got Smitty taking your number 2 cornerback. You know what I'm saying? When he's on fire, probably getting a little help over the top. So that's both of your star players. You got Dallas Goedert getting catches over the middle. You know what I'm saying? On the football field, eating up the middle. That's going to leave nothing but for Jahan Dotson to explode. Saquon running the football. Man, he's going to be special this year. I think, he had, 62 yards receiving this game. We got to get him in that end zone, but, that was a good start. And I'd like to see how the chemistry between him and Jalen Hurts just came in, the full swing here in game 1. So that's another positive. I'll say receivers as a whole, I had to grade the receivers. The receivers got, well, there wasn't that many passing yards, so you got to give them at least a B. They caught the ball. There wasn't that many drops. There's a lot of good catches out there. Dallas Goedert had himself a nice little game there, catching over the middle, 5 yards here, 5 yards there. Saquon dropped 1, but he also made a nice one on the sideline for the first down. So the receiving game as a whole, I'm giving a B, maybe B+. Saquon Barkley, 62 yards? I think they said he had something like 62 yards or something like that. Rushing the football, that's not a lot. I want to see that get up a little higher than that. I think people that landing with his back was not good. Steen did so. Lane and Mailata did good. The tight end blocking wise, Alcantara and Grayson, they're definitely not no Dallas Goederts, but overall, the line probably gets about a B2. The running game would get a C. It wasn't nothing real. I can give it a B2. There wasn't nothing too special about it, but there wasn't nothing too bad about it. The defensive line is what I really want to talk about because you see who I started off the show, and I've told you guys, it's going to be a Jordan Davis year. It's going to be a Jordan Davis year. I don't care what anybody says. I had this video I wanted to show Jordan Davis and how good he actually played. But, he could have had 2 sacks that game. Is this it? Let me see.
Let's watch Jahid.
No, that's Jahid Campbell. No. He could have had 2 sacks. So he had 2 pressures, 1 tackle for loss. They just had like 5-6 tackles. Jordan Davis played 86% of the snaps. Everybody was like, oh, he has to get up over 30% of the snaps. I told you he's in the best shape of his life. He's going to do it. Jalen Carter went down, and Jordan Davis was putting pressure on Dak Prescott all night long. You know what I'm saying? It makes me so happy to see because Jalen Carter being out, you got to see Jordan Davis, what he's going to do this year. Because imagine now you bring Jalen Carter back. Now you got Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter on the same defensive line. If Jalen Carter's getting double teamed, Jordan Davis is going to destroy single blocks. Like, they were double teaming him on Thursday night. He was still destroying it. You know what I'm saying? So I think the sky's the limit. We're just seeing the beginning surface of this defensive line. And this defensive line is going to carry us throughout the season, man. This defensive line looked great last night. You know what I'm saying? I know you've seen some runs, but nothing was really too big. It's not like someone ran for 150 yards, on us or something like that. It was just like they gashed us here and there. They blocked, schemed Jordan Davis out of the game. And, but we also did some good things on there too. I told you Miles Sanders was going to pop one off. He going against the Eagles. You definitely believe Booby about to spin. Thank you, Booby, for giving us the ball back after that. But and that's Williams over there had 2 touchdowns rushing. That run game really needs to step it up a little bit more than what we've seen here. This game was really bad when it was really, really bad when in terms of the red zone run game. He had 2 touchdowns, and I remember a couple of runs where it's like he was dragging people. And it's like, that's not what you want to be on the defensive line. You want to be hitting this guy in the mouth. Everybody needs to go, destroy him before you even hit the line of scrimmage if we're in the red zone. So I want to see him step up a little bit. I think with Jalen Carter back, like I said, it was going to be a blowout. And I think if Jalen Carter were to play it would have been a blowout. It would have been like, 14. I could see them getting 17 points, 14 points. And I could see us, stopping them that many more times to the point where we get a couple more scores up there. So it would have been a nice game. But, things happen. Jalen Carter's out. And now we get to move on. And hopefully he'll be there because that defensive line is going to be nasty, man. Nolan Smith, had some nice plays. That taunting call was bullshit. Should have never been called. Should have let him, do the thing there without there being a flag because it wasn't like he was standing over him or whatnot. He was just flexing like, yeah, I hit your ass, So Nolan Smith played good. Derek Uche played some good football out there. On the defensive side, pretty much the only person, we're all going to talk about is Adoree Jackson. It was his first game. He graded himself out a C. He thought he did not a great job, but an admirable job. Everybody's seen him get burned toast. Quinion locked down, 39 yards, 4 receptions on Quinion's side. No touchdown, no nothing. Adoree Jackson got like 8 catches on him, 100-something yards, touchdown, not touchdown, but 100-something yards on him between Lamb and Pickens, which, Lamb and Pickens, that's another good receiver duo Dak got. When he was cooking there, Dak was really throwing that football. He was diming it. I couldn't even be mad at Dak yesterday. I couldn't even say he sucked Thursday night. He was throwing the football real good out there. He was hitting CD. He was getting them all involved, and that's what you gotta want to see Jalen do a little bit more of. But at the end of the day, what happens to the Cowboys is we are bend but don't break defense. And in the second half of that football game, we didn't break. You weren't breaking us. We stopped you, and that's when it really got good because this game was really won by Jordan Davis on defense. This guy right here, Jahid Campbell, which I love ballsy breakdown of Jahid Campbell and how he played.
Let's watch Jahid Campbell, last night's star defensive player for the Eagles. Here, Schoonover goes in motion to join Brevin Spann-Ford. And right here, Dak is going to take a hole shot to number 89, Spann-Ford. And there's Jahid Campbell getting on his horse. Like he's going to go down there and show his speed right here as he makes this play down the field. I mean, it's a great shot by Dak. And then the celebration between Bond and Campbell. That combination is just dynamic. Because here's the biggest play of the game. Third quarter, Cowboys driving, 1st and 10 at the 12. Here's Jahid Campbell, right? The Eagles love to go to this 6-man front when they feel like they need to stop the run. Zach Bond is the diamond linebacker right there. Now watch Jahid Campbell come. Here comes Miles Sanders, who got the Cowboys down in a position. They're losing 24-20, and they're going in to score when right here Campbell gets the ball out. He gets the ball out, and Quinion picks it up. And then lightning struck, literally lightning struck, and we sat and watched for the next 45 minutes as everybody left the field. That was the biggest play of the game. Jahid Campbell getting the ball out of Miles Sanders' hands into the arms of Quinion Mitchell.
Beast. It was his breakout party. You know what I'm saying? The rookie's going to be one of the best linebackers. He might be better than Bond was last year. I'm going to say it. But that being said, we do got the #1 linebacker unit in the NFL. And I'm saying it with my chest. You know what I'm saying? The #1 linebacker unit in the NFL. And I'm saying it with my chest because how are you going to stop that? Bond, Campbell. Bond didn't play his chappy himself. I think I got one on him too. Let's see.
Zach Bond picked up exactly where he left off last year. Maybe the best defensive player in the league. And it was on display right here. Here he is on the other side of the hash when Miles Sanders breaks loose. And he's gone. Terrence Steele gets a great block on Blankenship. And it's a 1-on-1 foot race. It's Zach Bond and Miles Sanders. It's Miles Sanders, the former Eagle, the former Penn State star. And it's Zach Bond taking him down and keeping him out of the end zone, which basically saved the day. Because 3 plays later, Dak Prescott was looking for his tight end, Jake Ferguson, in a Tampa 2 look. The corners are outside the hashes. It's Zach Bond and Jake Ferguson down the field. And Dak isn't looking for anybody else. He knows the coverage. He has the time. And Zach Bond, he might not be saving lives, but he's saving touchdowns, keeping the Cowboys out of the end zone and preserving a 24-20 victory. Zach Bond is unreal.
Beast, man. This linebacker unit is dangerous. It's going to be dangerous for years to come. You know, we got Zach Bond for 3 years. We got Jahid, you know, for the next 5 years because he's a first-round pick. It's going to be nice. The boys are bad. With him, Jalen Carter, you know, Jalen Carter being back is going to help out both of their games, you know. And like I said, Jalen Carter, JD, JC combo right there is going to be hell to pay for offensive line because, you know, the Cowboys offensive line didn't play that bad as well, too. They got some big boys up there, and we still was able to do our thing without Jalen Carter, which is awesome to see. And I think with Jalen Carter, the sky's the limit. You know, these linebackers, sky's the limit. Nolan Smith's going to keep getting better. Jalen Hutton was putting pressure out there. Uche was looking good out there. We signed a new guy, too, didn't we? Darius Smith. Is that his name? This is Darius Smith? Yeah. From the Lions, you know what I'm saying? I think he had like 9 sacks. So he's going to be a veteran guy to mix into that rotation with Uche, Hunt, Nolan. It's going to make that pass rush come out a little bit stronger, a little bit better. I cannot wait to see it. It's going to be awesome, man. Awesome. But Quignon did his thing. You know, Jahid did his thing. Campbell did his thing. You know, they all did really good, you know, considering no full, you know, action in a preseason. You know what I'm saying? I really like seeing what I seen from those guys without that full action in the preseason. So, what was this video?
All right, Jordan Davis came into.
So, yeah, y'all tell me what y'all think about it. You know, another good thing about it, we beat the Cowboys and the Chiefs lost. I loved it. The Chiefs lost. It was so awesome. Like, we just beat the Cowboys, the Chiefs lost, and now we're about to go 3-peat on the Chiefs next week. It's going to be awesome, man. I cannot wait to see that happen. We're going to talk about the Chiefs preview on The Truth this week. Make sure you guys hit that like, hit that subscribe. We're going to be bringing that fire all year long. All year long. Let's see. So, yeah, I would say the player of the game was Jahid Campbell. He earned it. He kicked some ass out there as a rookie, first game in there. Probably Jalen Hurts. He's a defensive player of the game. I have to say Jalen Hurts was definitely the player of the game for sure on offense because without him, we don't win that football game. But a funny thing you don't want to talk to you guys about too is how did you guys feel? I found this out, you know, this morning when I was looking over some things. I didn't know. I knew how I was going after Parsons, but I did not know we offered so much. It says the Philadelphia Eagles offered 2 first-round picks, a 3rd and a 5th for Micah Parsons, as well as other compensations. Philly was also a preferred destination from Parsons as well. You know, I knew how I was going after him, but I didn't know he was being that aggressive, man. That's pretty aggressive. 2 first-round picks, but it'll be late-round picks too, just like, you know, the Packers. But we didn't get him. He went to the Packers. It's all good. I just thought that was something funny to look at there, how we did go pretty hard on him. So, moving forward, man, like I said, I felt like this was more of a preseason game for the Eagles. They came out with a W. It would have been a lot worse to come out and play like that if we were to lose the football game. But since we did not lose the football game, everybody needs to chill out and be happy that we're moving on against, you know, the Chiefs. With Jalen Carter back, man, this defense about to be scary. You know, when we get AJ and Smitty the ball, you got to realize Trayvon Diggs is pretty good. He's a good cornerback. You know, for one, with help over the top, they can do something. You know, that make you think about the risk-reward factor with that. Do I want to throw that ball or not? there's a chance Trayvon Diggs might pick it, take it to the house. Bland's been playing some good football over there. They signed that. They got that rookie kid over there, who's on the up and comings of cornerbacks over there. So it's not like we went against the league's shittiest cornerback duel, and Jalen just wasn't throwing the football. He had some good guys over there. He gave respect to, and he moved on. So nothing to worry about with this football team. I think we're great. Overall, I give the team a B minus. For that game, we won the game. What I'm saying, but we didn't win it in clean, like big numbers style. But we won it pretty convincingly. No scoring in the second half of the football game. We put up 3 touchdowns in the first half of the football game. What more? What more can you ask for? We can ask for the defense not to let them score 2 touchdowns, but everybody knew that Dak was going to get his and they were going to get theirs and then we get in the football game. We didn't know they had new coordinators, they had new offenses, they had new defenses. We didn't know what we were running into when we were doing it. So I was just like logically to think that there was going to be some back and forth scoring in the first half of that football game. And we did it, and we outscored them, and we didn't let them score more points, so we won the football game. So we did what we're supposed to do in game 1 in this football league. Now we are undefeated. I'm saying? Us and the Chargers are undefeated in this league this year. And Justin Herbert played a great game. I ain't gonna give no slack on that. I watched that Chargers game, and he's developing into something nice. Jim Harbaugh might got him one. Patrick Mahomes missed a couple at the end of the game. I thought that was kind of un-Patrick-like. Usually him and Travis dropped that one. Usually they're on the same page. I don't know what's going wrong over there in Kansas City, but I hope they stay off target for another week. So we're about to go into Arrowhead, and I want to go in there and beat up on them boys and let them know that, hey, Philadelphia's here to stay. That was no fluke. This isn't 2023. We're not about to go downhill after a season like that. We're about to dominate the league. I'm telling you this straight up. Like, we could go 17-0. Straight up. Like, I ain't gonna lie. We could go 17-0. I don't see a team out there put together like us. Bullshit does happen in the season. That only been done one time. But, records were meant to be broken. And with the talent on this football team, and as these guys get better and better throughout the season, learning each other, playing with each other better, reaching new heights together, man, once they start rolling, ain't going to be no stopping. It's going to be another ring. I promise you that, guys. I'm saying this in week 1. I promise you. Rings are coming in Philadelphia this year. So sit back, relax, and let's enjoy this Sunday without Eagles football, knowing that our team is already 1-0. We're the one and only undefeated teams in the league. And let's watch some football and let's see. I like watching games. I don't know about you guys, but I love watching games of people we play. It's a crazy thing. Jalen was conservative. Cowboys have good coordinators now. Yeah, that is true. What I'm saying? He was chilling. I'm not going to risk anything. He was still he had 5 third down conversions, my guy. He's out there doing what he's supposed to do at the end of the day. Jalen Hurts, the man, the player, everything, man. He's just awesome, man. Like, cool, calm, collective. If you had to think of a role model, that's the person I want, because the way his demeanor never changes, good or bad. You can hear whatever you want. All of us wish we had that superpower, all of us, so I think you're going to see a couple of 300-yard games from Jalen this year too, though. I don't think, I think this is just the beginning. You're going to see some teams, the teams we're supposed to beat up on, we're going to beat up on them. You're going to see higher numbers passing. Saquon Barkley's going to have a couple of games where he get over 200 yards this year, or close to it this year. This offense is not going to change. It's going to be what it was last year with a little bit of twist, but Jalen's going to stay the same. This offense is going to stay the same, and this defense is going to get better. And that being said, being the best team in the league, you got to give us the benefit of doubt to know that we're going to win the Super Bowl again. Man, ain't no stopping us. If you look at this top ranking, before this week started, it was us. The Chiefs, I ain't worried about. The Bills, I ain't worried about. Ravens got a good squad. I think it should be an Eagles-Ravens Super Bowl. Detroit, I ain't worried about. Packers, not worried about. Beat you twice last year. Commanders beat you 3 times last year. You know what I'm saying? Like these are teams that we don't. That's gonna be a nice one there. The Bucks game, right there, because the Bucks have had our number. I want to see us get over that hump. Broncos got one of the best defenses in the league. You know, with an up and coming rising star at quarterback. So that might be an interesting one there. We got to go to the Mile High and do our thing there. Texans not worried about. Rams definitely not worried about. Beat you twice last year. The Vikings ain't good enough yet. The Bengals ain't got a defense. The Niners are just not the Niners anymore. I don't know what team's out there. Chargers look good on Friday night. You know what I'm saying? We do play them this year. What else? The Bears not worried about Seattle. No Cardinals. Game 2 with the Cowboys, maybe. Make sure we were on our shit by that time. Falcons, young, dangerous team, not too worried about them, no. Colts definitely not worried about Raiders, no. There's no teams that you gotta really sit back and think, damn, they can mess us up, They can give us a run for our money. The only losses the Eagles lost over the last 3 years is when we beat ourselves. And we ain't doing that no more. We're done beating ourselves. The rest of the league, it is night time. Night time. We about to run this table until we lose, like I always say, 17-0 until proven otherwise. Otherwise, it's not coming anytime soon when you got a quarterback like, look at Jalen Hurts, his first, Jalen Hurts undefeated in week 1 games. The traditions never stop with this guy. And they're all been pretty close games, besides the 2021 Falcons game that wasn't close. Alabama 2018 wasn't close. 17 wasn't, and 16 was. So, in his football career, the Falcons game was a blowout. It was a nice game against the Lions, a nice game against the Patriots, a nice game against the Packers. And over the last 2 seasons, you think about that, Zach Bond has been the player of the game, or made the play of the game to save the game the last 2 openers. Last year in Palo Alto against Green Bay, he made the game a saving play. And then that play we just seen, man, that play, that was the play of the game. Where was it at again? Let's see if I got a short version of it. What's this one?
5 for Philadelphia.
Oh, that's not it.
20 yards for Philadelphia.
No, this
yards for Philadelphia from the 11-yard line. Sanders. Ball out. Picked up by Quinyon Mitchell. And down at the 16-yard line. Big play on the drive to get him down there for Sanders. And the 4 back in a safety spot. 2nd and 10. Prescott gives it. Miles Sanders running in open space. There goes Sanders at the 30. Chased at the 20. Bond brings him down at the 10. But
that was a really big play right there. I think that, we had to really be thankful that Bond put that kind of effort in, to stop us. Because that could have been a game right there. If Booby doesn't fumble the ball, that could have been a game right there. There's a lot of could have, if CeeDee Lamb didn't drop 3 passes at the end of the game, that could have been the game. But, the better team won. The Eagles had a better roster. The Cowboys, hey, you guys are a lot better than we thought you were. I might even consider you guys lost Micah Parsons, which I think probably affected you guys a little bit. It helped you guys on the run game, like Jerry said, but it affected you guys a little bit on the pass. Getting sacks on Jalen Hurts, Jalen kind of carved you guys up a little bit. But you guys played good. It was a great game. You guys gave us a run for our money. We didn't blow you guys out. You guys covered the spread. That was definitely shocker. I didn't think none of that was going to happen. So it's just really good to see the Eagles start out the way we did. Like I said, it was like our 3rd preseason game. Now, the first 2 games of the year, don't look at stats, just look at effort. That's what I like to say. I don't really look at the stats the first 2 games. I look at the effort the first 2 games. Are people playing hard? Who needs to go early? You know what I'm saying? I won't say Adoree. I give Adoree one more game. They don't have Worthy next week against the Chiefs. I give him one more game, and then he got to go. That was embarrassing, but it was against CeeDee Lamb. It's not like he was playing against Adam Thielen or something. He basically is one of the best in the league. And Pickens is a nice young star too. So, they carved him up. But, I knew it. He's short. He's a little guy. You can't go against taller, bigger receivers like that. I think you're going to ball out. But, I think when we go against like the Chargers type, McConaughey, whatever his name is, he's short. They're shorter receivers. I think he'll play well. He'll do good against them. It's the big boys. He can't hang with those guys. He can't hang with those guys at all. So, all in all, we'll see how the rest of the football week goes. Keep up this week. Like I said, Tuesday night, we're going to have the Truth podcast. Me and JC, we're going to break down how he felt about this game and break down this Chiefs game. We're looking for some Chief content creators, maybe get on the show too this week. So, like I always say, thanks for watching another stream with me. Hit that like, hit that subscribe. I'm on the way to 10K. I think I might do something for 10K, but I'm on the way, 55 away of 10K. I'm saying I've been at 9 for a long time, trying to get to that 10K mark. Guys, share that content, hit that subscribe, hype up the videos, and let's watch these Eagles destroy the rest of the league this year. So, fly Eagles fly, and I'm out. Peace.